Welcome back to the Football Terrace. The Chelsea owners are still leaking information, fighting out for supremacy at Stamford Bridge in the public domain. But Chelsea fans are also fighting back because there are reports that the Chelsea ownership want to leave Stamford Bridge, a sacred, deep and meaningful place to the Chelsea faithful. Let's take a little listen here to Rory Jennings. As ever, though, hit like buttons and make sure you are subscribing because this is big and seismic news as far as I'm concerned.
Chelsea must never leave Stamford Bridge, and this talk of us potentially moving is really troubling. Since the American venture capitalist billionaires came into Chelsea, they have done nothing but try to erase the soul of the club. No ownership has ever treated the fans worse than this one. They are trying to make us move out of Stamford Bridge. Thank God for the Chelsea pitch owners. Chelsea only exist because of Stamford Bridge. We are a one-club ground. Peter Osgood, our best ever player, his ashes are currently buried underneath the penalty spot at the shed end of Stamford Bridge.
This is really important. So again, to me as a Man United fan, the idea of them leaving Stamford Bridge for a bigger stadium doesn't bother me on a personal level. Well, it didn't until I learned a little bit more. I think the heritage, the culture and the soul of a football club is very important. Now, some will say, Terry, but you're up for Man United building a new stadium. Yes, on the same grounds, literally next door to where the current one is. But if I learn, and I don't think this exists, that if Sir Matt Busby had his ashes buried beneath the centre circle, I would never want to leave that place as an example. So I think any Chelsea fan out there right now saying, no, we should move, we should go to a new location, I think you've got to learn the history and the heritage of the football club you fell in love with. Because what did you fall in love with?
And the connection that Chelsea fans have to Stamford Bridge, going back generations, is something that is simply not for sale. The only motivation to do this is money. And we were told when they took the club over that they were going to do everything within their power. They were going to exhaust every avenue to try and preserve our relationship with Stamford Bridge. That hasn't happened. They lied. Buy yourself a share now. Get yourself a Chelsea pitch owner's share now. It's imperative. They tried to do this in 2013 and we won. Looks like we're going to have to fight again.
It looks like they're going to have to fight again. I think that's absolutely correct there. I think they are going to have to go and fight again, whether people like hearing this or not. And I saw Louis, obviously big YouTuber, he doesn't really do much content anymore, but big Chelsea YouTuber, said, as a member of the CPO, I think that is the Chelsea Pitch Owners Association, like many others, I won't be voting in favour of a move to Earls Court right now. It doesn't say forever, but it says right now. The ownership have failed in so many ways and are currently grappling with each other. Why on earth would the CPO vote in favour of a move with this circus right now? And I think this is also very key. All the other issues, and there are still Chelsea fans in my DMs, in my mentions, Terry, why are you talking about this? Because I care about the future of all football clubs in England. Always have done, always will do. You could call it virtue signaling if you like. I call it preserving, in my personal opinion, one of the most precious elements of my nation's culture, which is our football. And it is. And I had a great friend of mine, he's an American guy, and he said to me once, Terry, tell me something about British culture that the rest of the world loves. And I said, well, I can't tell you about the rest of the world, but I said, I'll tell you something about British culture you love. His first response was, I don't like tea. I said, no. He said, but you're a very, very big Liverpool fan. You're a big fan of the Premier League, and that is part of our culture. The English football pyramid is part of our culture, and how clubs are run is absolutely key. The world is welcome to come and support our league, support our clubs. I am not gatewaying this in any capacity. The world is welcome. However, you should be respecting the grassroots, working class heritage and roots of these football clubs. And when there is a connection to a stadium, to a pitch in this way, I think it must be respected at all costs. At the same time, more information is coming out about the battle between Clearlake and Bowley. Ben Jacobs shares here that Clearlake sources suggest Bowley was too swayed by individual agents and signed off on deals that made limited business sense, pointing to the need to loan Sterling to Arsenal on deadline day this summer, just to get less than half of the wages off the books as proof that the initial Bowley-led window in charge left lingering problems. You've also seen reports come out that recruitment has been an issue between the parties. Todd Boehly intends to focus not only on players who could be good in the future, but also those who could immediately adapt to a top club where winning is the ultimate goal. And this is a war of words. And anybody that said this wasn't a civil war, anybody that says this wasn't a problem, anybody that says this wasn't something that should be discussed is either being an ostrich and burying their head in the sand, or they are lying. They are not being honest. The Chelsea ownership are fighting in public. They are throwing dirt at each other to try and win your vote. This is no different. It's a smaller scale, but no different to a presidential election, to a parliamentary election that we get here in the UK. This is two individuals fighting for supremacy, fighting for control to take Chelsea Football Club forward. And I've said this for over a week now, and I stand by it. Chelsea fans have got to sit back. Chelsea fans have got to say, hang on, we need this almost debated in public. We almost need this to be discussed. We need the rhetoric out there. Yes, you both made mistakes. And I think the one thing the winning party has got to do to win is stop throwing stones from the glass house they sit in. Todd Boehly and Clearlake have both certainly made mistakes since they've been at Chelsea. I think it's about holding your hands up and say, we made mistakes, we want to improve. Rather than, well, it was them, it was him, pointing fingers, passing the blame. Not, passing the buck, as it were. Not taking up, holding your hands up, taking responsibility, being professional and saying, we haven't done a good enough job for Chelsea. We have left Chelsea in a mess. We're 2 and a bit years into the rebuild, and we are no further ahead than you could argue you're further backwards in many ways, although there are some that believe in what's going on, as Don alluded to yesterday. But this public fighting, this one-upmanship that's going on is going to do nothing but damage Chelsea. It's going to do nothing but hold Chelsea back. Maybe not in the short term. They'll win a few games when they return. But they're talking about getting this resolved within the next 60 days, and it has to come quick. And I think one thing that Chelsea supporters have been vehement about, passionate about, direct about, is you do not take Stamford Bridge away from us. We do not want to leave that sacred ground. And I stand by Chelsea fans in that message. Unless every avenue is exhausted, and you have to prove that, be transparent, be open. Do you know what? I actually might buy some Chelsea pit shares myself, just as a sign of sort of camaraderie amongst football fans. Because as Rory alluded to, there've been so many venture capitalists, so many business people that have got involved in football in the last 20 years whose sole aim isn't winning trophies, whose aim is to make money, is to grow the value of the business. That's fine, as long as the top priority is win, 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 win. We've seen it with the Glazers. We saw it with Hicks and Gillette. We've seen it with multiple football clubs. And I think football fans should stand together, because football is not better off if Chelsea collapse and fall away. Football is better with Chelsea, with Liverpool, with Manchester United, with all of us. And I've said this before. If it turns out City have been cheating for the best part of 2 decades, I will feel for their fans. The last thing I want to happen is for Man City to go out of business. And I know there'll be Man United fans listening to this going, oh, you should want your rivals to collapse. No, I do not want football clubs collapsing in any way, shape or form. So I'm standing with the Chelsea fans here. The ownership are a disgrace for this public fighting. They should be sitting down and talking to fans, almost like they do in sort of the presidential races at other clubs around Europe. They should be going about this amicably instead of behaving like big children, throwing insults, airing their dirty linen in public, and at the same time talking about leaving a stadium that is there's such an emotional connection for Chelsea fans too. It is an absolute disgrace at Chelsea right now. I stand by this. I don't care if it triggers Chelsea fans. I don't care if you think I'm shitting on your club. I don't think I am. I don't think I am shitting on your football club. I think I'm standing up for your football club from the current owners of it, who are doing a terrible job as custodians of your great football club, of a team that has created such wonderful history. Hurt me a number of times as a fan, but that's all part and parcel of loving football. It's the ups and the downs. It's the winning and the losing. It's all part of the tapestry of what we love. And these owners and their view to try and move away, it's nothing short of a disgrace. Hit the like and the share button. Make sure you're subscribing, and we'll speak to you all again soon. Peace.